Will you be going to the new earth? What does that even mean? How's it going to happen? When is it going to happen? How do we know if we're going to the new earth? And are those not going to die? What happens to them? I'm going to explain things from a scientific viewpoint, from what we know, which is really scratching the surface, to tell you not only how you can go to a new earth, but that you can start today to shift into it and start to experience some amazing things that are happening right now. Everyone has access to this. Are you ready? Let's get started. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through the fear and live an amazing, awesome life. Are you ready to do this? All right, so if you've seen my other videos, we talk about science. The Schumann resonance is the documented frequency of the planet. This is science. The frequency of the planet is almost double what it has been in the past. It has reached a historic all-time high frequency. What is a higher frequency? Within a high frequency, anxiety, depression, illnesses all disappear because there's no imbalance in a higher frequency. A lower frequency is density. Scientists have proven that those humans below a 7.8 hertz frequency, which is at least where we want to be or above, below that, have symptoms of depression, anxiety, fear, and illness. This is all real stuff. Frequency counts. Now we know when you have a low frequency, you become ill. Your DNA literally, this is scientific studies that have proven this, your DNA literally coils up, all right? When you are going to a high frequency, which is joy, love, peace, all these beautiful feelings, your actual frequency raises. You have an electromagnetic field, everything does. Actually, you have a field of radiation. It goes up. It opens up just like your DNA does. And the beauty is, you affect other people's DNA. This is what's happening on the planet. The frequency is going up not just on its own, we're doing it. And she's evolving too, right? She's an alive, beautiful entity, energy. And as is everything on her and beyond. We are contributing to the higher frequency of the planet. That means we're raising our frequency. That means we're awakening. It's really happening. We're doing it. The sun and other planets within the solar system have also shifted into a different frequency, and that's definitely directly affecting us. So here's what's happening. If you have some of these symptoms, and maybe you don't concern yourself. There's no right or wrong to this. Many people are experiencing some bizarre feelings physically because it is real. The frequency of the planet, the solar system, the sun are all affecting us physically. The DNA is changing, that's a fact. It is absolutely changing. You know all that space of DNA, they call it junk DNA, that we didn't use? It's there for a reason. It's going to kick in at some point, and it's happening. Same thing goes with our brain. Why would we have all of this and we only use a fraction of it? Because it's there for when we're ready to use it. And this is equipment that you can start using that is pretty darn amazing. How do you access all of this? And what is the new earth? Okay, so we know that multiple dimensions exist. I'll give you an example. We're in a third dimension planet, That means that we see things and that's what we think we are. When you go to a fourth and fifth and beyond, you're now tapping into the unseen, of which really is, all power really lies there. And all of that flows through the supposed material world. Nothing's really solid, but it appears to be. It's a lower dense frequency that allows it to be material. This is why when you leave your body, you are no longer a physical body, because your frequency raises when you go transition out of it. You leave that density, but you still take that energy field with you. So you don't get out of anything, right? Whatever you're doing here and what frequency you have, you're going to take it with you, even though you leave the density of the body. So here's how the new earth works. This is my opinion. You don't have to believe me, but I do look to science to guide me on this. We live in a multi-dimension existence. Endless. They keep saying, oh, there's 9. Oh, now there's 12. Now there's 21. Now they're endless. The one has no limits. Unlimited dimensions, which everybody has the capability to shift into. Now here's what's going on. When you raise your frequency, you tap into another dimension. Why? Because the frequency of that dimension is different than a third level dense frequency, where illness happens, right? It's a lower frequency. So now we know higher frequencies literally have been proven. Love, all these things can change the frequency of the planet. They've documented this. Meditation, right? The Schumann experiment in the Maharishi effect, they called this many years ago and have done it several times to prove that they could change not only just the frequency, but the crime rate went down, illnesses went down, accidents went down. This is documented science. All right, so we know our feelings and thoughts and beliefs are changing the frequency out there, changing other people's DNA, but here's what we all have. We all have free will. You don't have to believe me. Nothing I say. You can just turn the channel off right now if you want. Here's the deal. Now, not only do you have free will, but when you go to a higher frequency and you choose that, you now tap into things that seem a little cray-cray. Higher intuition. You might see things, you might experience some things, your third eye. Somebody said, should we open the third eye? Why would you be afraid of your powers? Of course. You can actually put blinders on. I saw real experiments where you can blindfold yourself, see nothing, and still read things and see stuff. And 360, because that's what we are like on the other side. So when you get out of the density of this body and you go to that higher frequency, you're accessing what you are when you're not in the body. That's all. You've never lost touch with it. Now, we know multiple dimensions exist, unlimited dimensions. So here's what, I'll give you an example with the ghosts. People in lower frequencies, like they're attached to certain things or an event happened and there's a lower frequency energy, might dwell in that dimension. Even though they're out of their bodies, they might dwell in that dimension. So if we might get to see them on occasion, we might get to see a ghost. That ghost, whether it's a residual energy or an active person, active energy spirit, is just in a lower frequency, probably trapped. Sometimes it's just somebody visiting you and they're not a lower frequency at all. It's by choice, but they're not stuck. So ghosts sometimes are just stuck because they're in lower frequency and they don't realize that they're not physical beings anymore. And until they release that energy, which they can, all of them can, and we can help them, can go to the higher frequency and then they go off to someplace else, right? They go into another dimension, which is higher, which we're probably not participating in. You participate in dimensions. You participate in frequencies. And this is why shift into a new frequency is so important. What's my frequency? What's my frequency? What am I manifesting? That's what you're manifesting. So if you and I, this is science, quantum physics, both look at the identical thing, we could have completely different results and different realities based on what we think and believe about it. Because my wave turning into a particle could be different than yours. Therefore, you will live in a different reality. Even though I'm aware of you, you won't participate in mine. All right? So there will be people, okay, imagine this. There's a big mansion, and we're just in different rooms. So when you go to a frequency, you go into a different room. And then maybe you go to a higher room and a higher room. And when you're in that room, you're totally unaware of all the other people in the other rooms and the other floors. You might hear them once in a while, but you don't really participate in them. Does this make sense? That's what dimensions are. That's what the new earth is. So when you go to a higher frequency, you're participating in balance, compassion, love, no more guilt, no more blaming, no more separation. So you cannot participate in that new earth unless you're on the frequency of that. You can't go in that room unless you participate in that. They'll kick you out. You'll go back down to the floor where everybody's looking at all the crap and I need to be informed so that I can focus on it and create it. When you focus on it, you create it. Do you want to go on the new earth? You can start today. It's happening. The frequency has gone up. It's documented. We've seen what's going on. The imbalance of the whole human species has created this crisis we're going through because we've been rejecting the whole structure that is in place. And this has allowed us to step away from it and create something new if we choose. Now you could go through, and you may believe this, we're going to hell in a handbasket, here we go, blah, blah, blah. You can go into that space, all right? You can do that if you want. And that's exactly where you'll stay. And you'll resonate with other people who are cheering you on. Yeah, we're all, let's get them. Those are the bad guys. And separation, no compassion, no unconditional love there. And other people will say, wow, this is an opportunity for a new earth. Yes, this is amazing. What can we do? We never have to go back to destroying our planet. Everything you do now is going to determine, according to your frequency, what dimension you will operate in and what will happen in your world and what probability you're choosing. This is science. In fact, there's so much out there that you probably don't even know. I was talking to one of my friends who's really up on this stuff, and she said, I've never heard of these things. I said, these are real experiments. I can send you links. So you should Google this. Go on. I'm not making this stuff up. Go on and Google, dimensions, vibrations, frequencies. Tesla said everything's a vibration, everything's a frequency. There is nothing else. There's no material world. It is all a frequency. It's all a fabrication of our focus within the quantum field and creating this as a collective. Nothing punishes you. Nobody makes you feel bad. Nobody makes you do or feel anything. You have participated in everything. When you find the value, you go to a higher frequency because now the thing that's happening to you that you don't like, you see it differently. So you just shifted to a higher frequency with people that said, hey, you know what, I'm going to forgive my parents because what great teachers were they? Wow. Why would I ever feel anything negative toward another person? Why would I ever say anything bad about another person? Why would I ever have to argue a point? We can share our thoughts and feelings. But when you go in an argument, you go into a lower frequency of battle. Anything that battles is a lower frequency. I have to be right, you're wrong, you're going to hell, you're doing... Okay, no, you're going to live in that world. I'm not. I'm choosing a different world, and my world has shifted unbelievably. All of these symptoms that you've had with the electromagnetic field, you've been feeling all that, shifting into eating lighter foods, not wanting to eat meat. A lot of you don't want to eat meat anymore. That is, your DNA is changing. It's a physical thing. It's really happening because our powers are kicking in, because when we go to a higher frequency, all of this magic kicks in and it's real. All right, so I'm going to do a video, and if you guys saw, if you were in my class, Shift into Miracles, I talk about what's the difference between manifesting, which you're doing all day long, every thought is manifesting, even when you're not thinking you're manifesting. Your frequency is creating everything and placing you in that dimension. 24/7. It doesn't, manifesting isn't just what I do when I focus on here. When you do that, you intensify what you're creating. So if you're going into the negativity, you're intensifying creating that. All right? So we can create and manifest amazing things in our own world by focusing on it. That's why I have you guys 3 seconds to manifest anything. I have you focus on that thing, focus, and get away from the negative thoughts, and pretty soon it starts to show up. Same thing with your frequency. Stay in the high frequency. All right? You are creating your reality at every moment. So what's a miracle? A miracle is when we go into a super high frequency. That's all. So when you're thinking and you're manifesting things and you're high frequency here, but you still got a few doubts and, I don't love myself and mommy and daddy didn't love me. And so you still got some of that. You're still not there. You're not in the miracle space. Why do people get miracles? Because they've completely let go of everything. They're in a place where their back's up against the wall and they let it go. I don't believe anything anymore. I'm open to everything. Yes, I'll accept it. Yay! Finally, you can live like that every day. You know what? My friend said this today, and I actually was thinking it last night. I thought, wow, I'm studying some real crazy scientific stuff here that's almost like unbelievable to believe, right? And I thought, but I do. I do. I believe that anything's possible. Even the stuff that's really out there, I'm thinking it's real to somebody and they're creating that reality. If I don't want to believe that, I don't have to. But is my thought generating a higher frequency? So here's another thing. All of you guys holding back on anything of what you want to do with your life. You know, do you want to be an artist? Do you want to music, make things? Why aren't you doing it? That's the higher frequency. I quit my 25-year investment banking job. I wrote a best-selling award-winning book and several others. I have a television movie. Why? Because I just went into that space of passion, higher frequency, and things open up for you up there. It is a higher frequency. So when I say up there, I mean you go outside your body, you're tapping into everything. If you take my Shift into Miracles, down in the descriptions there's a discount. I actually do a practice in that 3-hour session where I take you into the quantum field. It's pretty powerful. People actually wrote me after that. I always get emails and they go, oh my gosh, these things are happening to me. I said, yeah, why? Because you just opened up to positivity and you went to a high frequency. I don't just open up to anything. I open up to the high frequency. So you should never be afraid nothing has power over you because you are it. If you believe it and you fear it and you're going to low frequency, then it has an open door and it goes into your room. And that's fear. Even though if you could be a good person, do all the right things, but if you're going to fear, you're in a lower frequency, you're inviting stuff in. That's why some people are vulnerable and they are amazing. Children sometimes, they are tapping into those dimensions. And as soon as the dimension's like, hey, they can see us. Let's go visit them. That's all it is. And they can control that. Sometimes they have to learn how to control that. That's another dimension that they're seeing and accessing. Does this make sense? That new earth, you will be in it with the same people that are on this planet if they choose to stay here and they don't transition. Some people are just going to exit. They just don't want to stick around for this. They've done their job or whatever. They're off to another adventure or journey. But you won't participate in the same way that they are. There's going to be things going on that you're totally unaware of because you're going to be in another dimension. And you're going to be here repairing the planet with free energy. The financial systems will finally end, so we don't have to charge anything for anybody anymore. It's all going to be free-flowing. I don't know. Maybe that's going to happen in our lifetime. I want to believe that because if I believe that, I can create that. It would be amazing, and I think it's all possible, and it is happening. It is possible. It's happening. We are awakening in a way never before on this planet. We finally did it. This is pass number 3. This is the 3rd time we've been through this. We go through cycles every time we get a chance to change it, and we're doing it. If you go into the high frequency, you will go into an existence and a reality that's very different from other people. And they may talk to you about certain things. Keep your focus on your higher frequency. You will be on that planet, in that realm, in those, existence with them, but your dimension will be different. Your reality, your experience will be different. So don't think you got left behind because stuff's happening out there. This is part of the transition. We're going to see a lot of stuff. It's how you react to it that's going to determine what happens in your future. Are you ready for that? So you can go into my miracle circle. The other thing too is start going after your dreams. Start doing what you want to do with your life. Quit gauging it by money. Money will come. You should be up on it. Everybody can be. It flows. Don't put some name or rules on money. Right now you need it to pay your bills. Do it. But go into something that feels right and good and it's a higher frequency. You guys have seen this. This is my internet training. They got an amazing special. If you go in, you're going to see me offer that right away. A free webinar, free workshops, talking about how does this work? How do you use it to start creating income so you can start doing something that you love? Even if you never go back to an office again. Wouldn't that be nice? So go into the frequency where you're not, I have to go back to work and lower frequency. How do I resolve this? There's always a solution for everything. And when you go to high frequency and you know this, it'll show up. Why? Because opportunities are here. But when you say it won't happen, okay, it won't. But when you say, I know it's going to show up, don't put a time limit on things. Because a lot of times we put time limits on things and time works differently than what we believe it is. And so sometimes if it doesn't happen by tomorrow or next week, then we lose our faith and then we go back into the negativity, lower frequency. Let go. It's going to happen when it's supposed to. And you can accelerate it. I'm going to actually do a video on that because I know how to do that. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Let's go to the new earth. It's happening now. Don't miss it. Every single person on this planet can go there. And when you raise your frequency, you'll affect every lower frequency that petrifies you, that you think can't do it. Everything's possible. People can shift overnight. Never doubt that. When you raise your frequency and you stop judging them, that's one of the worst ones. Judging separation. It's saying you're wrong. You're not in a high frequency. You're wrong. Separation, that makes you in the low frequency. You're down there with them. Catch it. You got to catch that. Is that a low frequency thought? Is it separation, guilt, judgment? Judgment's the worst one, right? All things are possible. I love you. You're unconditionally loved by the One. This is just a whole experience. It's a journey. You can do whatever you want with it. This is your shining moment. You ready for it? You're beautiful. You're unlimited. You are a light being. I send you blessings, peace, health, wealth, and awakening. Namaste.